Hey, what's up guys, ImpulseEvan here, and today I'm bringing in the video. In this video I'm going to be reacting to the newest FNAF theory titled I Solved the Story of FNAF. This came out about 5 days ago, because this is going out tomorrow. So 5 days ago this came out, and I have not watched it yet. I've heard mixed things about it. I don't know what he's gonna say, but I mean, well, first of all, I gotta fix it on the video on Streamlabs, but I've heard a little bit of that this theory is a bit of a mixed bag. So I don't know what he's gonna say. So let's just get started.
We were wrong about some big parts of the FNAF story, and in this video, I'm gonna prove it to you. But in order to do that, we need to solve one of the biggest mysteries in Five Nights at Freddy's. The box. Five Nights at Freddy's 4 was one of the most divisive games in the franchise.
Divisive?
Mostly because no one could figure out what the story was really supposed to be.
I think you mean
and it
divisive,
left too many
but sure.
questions on the table. Scott even acknowledged at one point that no one had figured out the true story of the game. That was until MatPat came along. In December of 2015, MatPat uploaded his infamous Dream Theory video. And although it came with a bunch of backlash, I think the community has collectively agreed that the Dream Theory is what Scott intended to do with FNAF 4. But one thing that's remained a mystery to this day
I still
is
like
the
go
box.
back and forth
when
on
you
that.
beat the game, this box appears on screen with the words, "Perhaps some things are best left forgotten for now." This quickly became one of FNAF's biggest questions: what's in the box? In October of 2015, during MatPat's FNAF livestream featuring other...
Before he goes on to say anything else, I just want to give my 2 cents on what's inside the box. I think it's pretty clear now, and I'm going to do a video on it soon enough when I reread Lowly's game, because I think that has that is connected to the box. But I think it's pretty clear that inside the box is the pieces of Happiest Day. Because not only is it in FNAF world, we see in the files there's the box unlocked and opened. And FNAF world is all about setting up Happiest Day, and at the end of FNAF world, once we've completely set up Happiest Day, there's text from the Fredbear plushie saying, the pieces are in place for you, all you have to do is find them. And then Scott said what's in the box, it's the pieces put together. So it's pretty clear to me that the box is Happiest Day. To what extent? Maybe it's like literal, maybe it's that the Fredbear plushie, which is the one that set up Happiest Day, is literally inside the box, and figuratively Happiest Day is inside the box. I think that's the most likely option, but I don't know what he's gonna say. I guess we'll find out.
FNAF YouTubers, Scott started leaving hints on ScottGames.com.
Yes.
In retrospect, these hints were obviously pointing towards Dream Theory. What's seen in shadows is
probably
easily misunderstood in the mind of a child, but most importantly,
they probably
in
have
the
different
FNAF
meanings
4
now,
minigame,
though.
Why would Toy Chica
if they were
this
Dream
was Scott
Theory
trying
originally.
to say that the reason Toy Chica is missing her beak in FNAF 2 is because the crying child saw a literal Toy Chica missing her beak. All of the FNAF games were reflections of the crying child and the plushies, toys, and shadows he saw in his life.
Mayhaps.
Foxy even turns into a plushie when you shut the closet door on him. So the way that Scott was hinting at Dream Theory was
I think that's more. I think that's more
so
so to say that the Nightmare animatronics are plushies just with illusion discs, which make it look like they're actually moving. While they're not actually moving, they're just like plushies stationary in the hall, and the illusion discs are making it seem like they're moving. That's what I think that plushie thing means. Since also we see the Freddy plushie on the bed, and that's where Nightmare Freddy comes from, right? And it's pretty heavily hinted at that the nightmares are made from illusion discs, and then later on, Michael had actual nightmares about them.
Plushies that are reflected in the games. We've been so busy trying to figure out what's inside the box that we haven't thought of what the box actually is. So what's the box? It's a toy box, filled with the toys and plushies that led to him having the nightmares we experienced throughout the series. If you Google trunk for toys right now, you'll find that there's plenty of examples of this exact box being a toy box. But as we see in FNAF 4, the box is locked. That's because the crying child is dead, and the memories and toys that started all of this are now locked away, destined to be forgotten,
maybe.
At least for now.
Maybe that's what originally it was.
In Security Breach Fury's Rage, the final boss
Dreamgeist?
is this thing, a giant slug
Which is
with
literally the
keyholes
box,
and a bunch
and
of
has, like,
toys
whoops,
floating around
has
in its
the
head
Dream
along
Theory
with the
evidence in
box
its head.
itself. And what is this monster called? The
Dreamgeist.
But that's what the box was
Nice.
supposed to be. Scott has since
Yes.
said that what's in the
That
box
the box
has
changed in the
So what
documentary,
is it
he said
now?
that, yeah.
The culmination of the news story was when Henry Emily burned everything to the ground in Pizzeria Simulator. And I think think MatPat was right when he said the box is the literal location that Henry trapped them in. But there never really was any more evidence for that other than comparing what the box looked like to the map, until today. One of the things that's always bothered me is why Scott chose to call Henry's plan Paragraph 4. This seemed extremely random and a detail that didn't really need to be in the game. On August 24th, 2015, Scott released a Steam
that's the
post
day before my
talking
birthday.
about the Halloween update to FNAF 4 and the box. This was the post where he said
That was the
no
day
one
before
has
I
figured out
turned
FNAF 4 and that the
7.
box would never be open.
Or 8,
but
no.
when
Yeah,
in this
8.
post does Scott start
Day
talking
before I
about
turned
the
8.
box?
Sorry,
Paragraph
I was talking over him. What?
2015, Scott released a Steam post talking about the Halloween update to FNAF 4 and the box.
Ow.
This was the post where he said that no one has figured out FNAF 4 and that the box
Yeah.
would never be opened. But when in this post does Scott start talking about the box? Paragraph 4. You could say that that sentence is the fourth paragraph, or you could combine that sentence with the next paragraph. No matter how you spin it, I believe this is what Scott was pointing to when he decided to call Henry's plan Paragraph 4. MatPat just finished his FNAF timeline series, and it's great. Go watch it. But the one part of the timeline I don't really agree with
That
is
is
Michael
actually
Afton
interesting.
going pizzeria by pizzeria, burning them down, and making up for his father's mistakes. The way I understand
It's
Michael's
more so
story
making
is
up for
that
his
he
own
was a bully
mistakes.
towards his younger brother, but once he took things too far and got his brother killed, it changed him. In his brother's
Yeah.
final moments, we hear him apologize, with William saying, "I will put you back together." William then builds
Is
a
it
secret
William,
bunker
though?
where he literally tries putting his family back together, but he needs one thing to be able to do that: Remnant. After Michael learns that his
Okay.
dad could bring his brother
Sure.
back, he starts going pizzeria to pizzeria not to burn them down, but to help collect all of the haunted endoskeletons that could be used to make Remnant.
Okay, I don't think that William is the one that was talking to the bite victim at the end of FNAF 4, and I don't think that his goal is to rebuild his family. I do think that his goal is to get Remnant, and I do think that Michael at the beginning was helping him do that, but I feel like it's most likely that Michael didn't know at first what Remnant actually was or how it worked. So he just knew basically that it was, you know, what his father wanted, and it could like bring immortality or whatever. And he was like, okay, sure, I'll help you out, Dad. And then he finds out that he goes to he goes to FNAF 2, and then he goes to FNAF 1 trying to help William. And then he goes to Sister Location on his father's orders once again, and then he finds out that William's actually the killer. And then that's when he like flips the script basically, and he's just like, oh, okay, he's the bad guy. That's a bad thing because Remnant is bad thing because he's killing people for it, basically. I think that's how it works more so, but I do like think that he's on the right track here, that Michael was going on his father's orders.
The reason Michael gets fired for tampering with the animatronics and odor is because he was literally dismantling the animatronics that had corpses in them. And that phone guy repeatedly
they don't really
emphasizes
anymore,
are
but
smelly.
they weren't
But while
washed,
this
so
father
yeah.
and son duo were
I don't
busy
really think that
murdering
the odor was from the dead bodies inside, because like I said, the bodies were taken out at some point. But like I just said, the animatronics in FNAF 1 phone guy says the animatronics were never washed. So yeah, it could be from the animatronics. It could also be from just like stress and like sweat and stuff, because it is night 7, which is the hardest night, of course. Or it could be that he just doesn't shower. It could be that, like in Friendly Face, where after like an incident, a traumatic incident where the main character feels a lot of guilt, he just doesn't shower for a while. I think that's more so to connect that guy to Michael rather than say that's why Michael has odor, but it is a possibility. Or it could be Fazbear Entertainment making up things, or it could be a mix of both Fazbear Entertainment making up things and the odor and his actual odor from whether sweating or touching animatronics. That's not the most important thing. I just wanted to point that out.
In dismantling animatronics, one other person came into the picture.
We don't have a replacement for your chef yet, but we're working on it. We're going to try to contact the original restaurant owner. I think the name of the place was Fredbear's Family Diner or something like that. It's closed for years, though. I doubt we'll be able to track anybody down.
After William Afton strikes at the FNAF 2 location in 1987, he says that they're trying to find a replacement for the current security guard, and that they're going to try reaching out to Henry. This was the moment that Henry became aware of what's going on and actively tried stopping it. Phone Guy refers to Henry as the original owner.
We're gonna try to contact the original restaurant owner.
I think after what happened at his restaurant, Fredbear's Family Diner, he lost the company. It was his animatronic that bit the crying child, and it was outside of his pizzeria that his daughter was killed. This is why he had to make the mediocre melodies in FNAF 6. He no longer has the rights to the original Freddy gang because of what happened at Fredbear's Family Diner. But even after losing the company, he wanted to make sure that what happened to his kid didn't happen to anyone else. In order to do that, he started...
I do think William also lost the company, though, because of, like, all the allegations toward him, because he didn't go to prison for it, obviously, but he wasn't, but he was heavily suspected, so it's most likely that he was kicked off the company. Henry being kicked off the company does make sense. I think that could work, but, like, or not kicked off, but, like, leaving the company at the very least. I don't think he would have been kicked off. I think he would have left, probably on purpose, because of all the incidents and stuff that happened, whether both with William and, like, his daughter being killed by him, by William. So yeah, I think that's
working as the
that works. That makes sense.
Security guard,
I like that.
having to use a fake name because of what happened in his past. He then worked at the FNAF 2 location months after it was shut down. We know this because Phone Guy says,
"Hello and welcome to your new summer job."
But our paychecks say it's November. What we see in FNAF 2 is the result of them contacting Henry. Henry starts his work at the FNAF 2 location, but is still getting attacked by the animatronics because William tampered with their facial recognition systems.
Someone may have tampered with their facial recognition systems.
Henry works his 6 days out of the week and takes the 7th to rest.
Is he
But
saying
the minute
Henry
he
is
decided to
Jeremy?
rest, Michael came in and took all of the endos from the toy animatronics. His first day on the job. Henry failed, but he wasn't about to give up. The new CEO of Fazbear Entertainment reassures everyone that they'll be back, even if they have to shrink their budget and reuse the old animatronics to do so. It was between Fredbear's Family Diner closing and the 1987 location opening that the new CEO came into play. In FNAF 1, we see the new CEO follow through on their plan. They can't reuse the toy animatronics because their endos were taken by Michael, so they're forced to reuse and fix up the old withered animatronics. These animatronics were already possessed by the kids who were killed in the original Freddy Fazbear's Pizza before the FNAF 2 location opened.
By now, I'm sure you've noticed the older models sitting in the back room. Those are from the previous location, but they were just so ugly, you know, and the smell.
The FNAF 1 location in 1993 didn't close because there were more murders. It closed because of Fazbear Entertainment's bad reputation. No one wanted to go to the new pizzeria because of what happened in their past. So the 1993 location shut down. But Michael once again went back to guard the abandoned pizzeria. And on the final night, his father dismantled the animatronics. But as we see in the FNAF 3 minigames, the spirits of the dead kids fought back and kind of successfully killed William Afton by getting him spring-locked in the suit he used to kill him. This had to have happened now because William Afton used that suit to kill the kids in 1987 that now possess the toy animatronics.
We had a spare in the back, a yellow one. Someone used it.
If no kids were really murdered in the 1993 location, and the pizzeria really did shut down just because people didn't want to go, then these animatronics would have no reason to be haunted. That's why I think these animatronics have to be the reused versions of the haunted withered animatronics, and William Afton dismantling them has to be after the events of FNAF 1.
That's been obvious since FNAF 2.
But with William Afton gone, there was still Michael left. So Michael had to take the endos from the dismantled animatronics, leading him to get fired once again for odor and tampering with the animatronics. The father-son duo both knew what the plan was, so Michael took all of the endos him and his father collected and did what he was told to do.
Just like you asked me to.
He went down to the sister location bunker and started putting the family back together. After Fazbear Entertainment collapsed, Henry got word that someone was trying to open a horror.
I need to rewatch that. What?
That's why I think these animatronics have to be the reused versions of the haunted withered animatronics.
That's always been obvious.
William Afton dismantling them has to be after the events of FNAF 1 because we see them perfectly fine in game. But with William Afton gone, there was still Michael left. So Michael had to take the endos from the dismantled animatronics.
Okay, I don't think that necessarily has to be true, but I think it's entirely possible that William literally just left, took the endoskeletons with him. And then he came back a couple days later after infusing them all into the fun times and stuff. Basically because, he just returned because he had to seal the safe room and stuff. And that's where, like, what's left of the spirits, was there's not really that much. There's just, like, tiny fragments left. And they're just, like, they're still there, and they trap William in there. I think I think that makes more sense, but it is also possible that it was Michael that took the endoskeletons. I've been thinking about that quite a bit recently. I don't know whether or not I believe that. I think that is possible, though. It would kind of make sense. It would make it a little bit less weird for some minigames to just take place on different days while most of them take place in the same night. I think that's still possible. I just think it could make a little bit more sense the other way, but I feel like it makes more sense that William would have done it because I just think I don't think Michael would have been able to do that and then go down to sister location after that as if he was new to the location completely. I feel like that would be a little bit strange.
Leading him to get fired once again for odor and tampering with the animatronics. The father-son duo both knew what the plan was, so Michael took all of the endos him and his father collected and did what he was told to do.
Just like you asked me to.
He went down to the sister location bunker and started putting the family back together. After Fazbear Entertainment collapsed, Henry got word that someone was trying to open a horror attraction based on the rumors surrounding his old company. He wasn't going to take any chances this time, so he decided to start working there as a security guard so he could keep an eye on things. The Afton duo, already taking all of the endos of the past animatronics, lines up because in FNAF 3 we only see the shells of the animatronics scattered throughout the building. Henry starts his first night on the job and everything's going great until night 2. Phone Dude mentions that while looking for animatronics, they found a quote, real one in a previously boarded up safe room.
You're not gonna believe this.
We found one. A real one.
William Afton was officially back and would do anything to stop Henry from destroying his plan. Henry had no idea what to do this time until he got an idea from Phone Dude.
So we have to make sure everything works and nothing catches on fire. Yeah, I wasn't joking about the fire.
I don't think Henry would have been the
What
protagonist
if he
of FNAF 3.
burned the whole place to the ground with all of the previous Fazbear relics?
This came out before the GT live stream yesterday. Yesterday for me. But he talked about this in the live stream, but what Matt Pat brought up in response I think makes a lot more sense, because that Michael would be the player for FNAF 4 because what he's saying here is that Henry wasn't the CEO in FNAF 2, meaning that he wouldn't know what the Wizards would look like because he wasn't really there. I mean, he's saying that Jeremy is Henry, but I don't think that makes a whole lot of sense, because I don't know why Henry would be using a fake name if Fazbear Entertainment literally called him to come fix everything, right? So why would Henry be Jeremy? That doesn't make sense. There's no reason he would be using a fake name, so I don't think that makes sense, and therefore I don't think Henry, if he did leave Fazbear Entertainment, would have seen the Wizard animatronics, while Michael would have. And there's also the fact that, well, there's what we found, like Matt Pat said in the GT livestream, because Hudson has, like, hallucinations about his, like, abusive stepfather when Springtrap shows up, which seems pretty clearly to connect to Michael thinking about his father, because his father is Springtrap and he's here. So I think it makes way more sense that Michael would be the player. I also don't think that Henry would be able to be the protagonist without, like, burning himself out, because he's like 80. I don't know, though. I mean, I don't know the capabilities of 80-year-olds because I'm only 15, but I don't know. But I don't think he would. I feel like he would have a heart attack, I'm not gonna lie, but I don't know.
And his ex-business partner inside. The player in FNAF 3 is hallucinating being attacked by burned versions of the past animatronics. But these animatronics couldn't have already been burned because we see the animatronic shells perfectly fine scattered throughout the building. So
I do agree with that. I don't think that
think
that Michael burned down the animatronics, because if there were, like, if the animatronics, even if there were, like, spares and stuff, then if Michael burned down the locations, then even those spares would get burned down too. So the animatronics that we see in this location would be burned if that was the case.
That
So, yeah,
already happened. They
those are my
have to be
thoughts.
hallucinating something that's going to happen. We
So I
aren't
agree.
playing as Michael in FNAF 3, hallucinating
I disagree
all
with
of the
that,
past
though.
pizzerias being burned to the ground. We're playing as Henry, hallucinating his endgame for how he's going to stop William Afton once and for all. Henry now needs...
Or we're we're playing as Michael, who decides to burn down FNAF 3. I think that works just as well, if not better.
To figure out a way to burn the place
No,
to the ground
definitely
without
better.
being at fault. But since he's a skilled engineer, he's able to tamper with the wiring so it goes off when he's not there. So he burns the whole place to the ground, but as we see in the newspaper at the end of the game, his plan fails. Pizzeria Simulator happens very shortly after FNAF 3, since the blueprints say Henry 2023, the same year that FNAF 3 takes place. After FNAF 3 failed, he realized he needed to get all of William's victims in one place, including his daughter.
I have to call them all back, all of them, together in one place.
He emphasizes all of them, not just William Afton and some animatronic shells. At this point, the events of Sister Location have already happened. We see the burnt down Fazbear Frights during Michael's speech at the end of Sister Location. Michael says that all he needs to do now is...
I think that's more so to say that Michael, I think that's more so to say that Michael went to FNAF 3 next. I think that makes way more sense, because I don't think Sister Location would have happened that late in the timeline. I think it makes way more sense to have been shortly after the Spring Locks. Maybe not shortly, but a couple of years, not FNAF 3 time, because I think that's more so just a teaser for FNAF 6 that William returned, and this is where Michael's going next. And also, the way that he's painting the picture, it's it sounds like what he's saying is that Michael didn't have any problems with William the entire time, which I don't think makes any sense, because I think he would definitely know about William killing the kids, right, by Sister Location, and I don't think that he would still be helping him after that.
Find his father.
I'm going to come find you.
Which is exactly what lands him in the FNAF 6 pizzeria. He went there because he was trying to find his dad. Paragraph 4 was Henry's second attempt at trying to burn everything to the ground. The first time he failed, and it looks like he failed the second time too, but at least he tried. So now that we've established that the story of FNAF is about Henry trying to stop William Afton's plan, these cutscenes in Ultimate Custom Night make a lot more sense.
私がそこにいる間
I see that more so as Michael and the bite victim.
Henry is the bear, William is the fox, and Michael is Mangle. In these cutscenes, the common theme is that the bear keeps coming up with new plans to stop the fox, but none of them work, which is what we see in FNAF 2, FNAF 3, and now Pizzeria Simulator. Like I said, Henry is meant to be Freddy in these cutscenes. This lines up with the Ultimate Guide saying that Henry was known for wearing the Fredbear costume, and you can also see him holding a Freddy blueprint in the character encyclopedia. Now that we've established that Henry is the one known for burning down buildings, not Michael, let me ask you a question. Which character in this franchise is a version of Freddy Fazbear that is a good guy and that has recently burned down an entire mall? Glamrock Freddy. What if Glamrock Freddy was meant to be Henry, not Michael? I think instead of Glamrock Freddy being a big brother to Gregory, he was the father figure that the crying child always needed but never had. Even if you don't think Gregory's the crying child, Glamrock Freddy's personality more aligns with Henry's than it does Michael's. All he wanted was to stop William.
I don't think
and to
Glamrock
make sure
Freddy
that
is
what
either
happened
of
to
them,
his kid
honestly.
never happened to any other kids. Freddy says in the final Ultimate Custom Night cutscene, the sun sets and the land returns to darkness. But today it promises a new light, for the fox has fled these lands. For although my failures were many, it seems they can now be measured as a victory. But this is not the end. I will pursue the fox. I will find him in whatever land he has fled to. It is my destiny and it is his. Henry is not going to rest until Afton is stopped. This is a trait that runs in the family.
It's in your nature to protect the innocent. I should have known you wouldn't be content to disappear. Not my daughter. I couldn't save you then. So let me save you now.
He couldn't...
Okay, so the Bear of Revenge cutscenes. I think that either makes sense to be the bite victim and Michael, but that doesn't account for Mangle. Or what I think is also pretty likely, or it could be both, is that it's Michael who's the bear and William who's the fox, with Elizabeth being Mangle. Because Elizabeth does have a Mangle toy in her bedroom. So I think that makes more sense. I mean, it could be a little bit of both. I don't think that Henry would be Glamrock Freddy, though, there's not really anything that specifically goes against that. I just think there's better options out there. But I don't think he's Michael either, honestly, so, yeah.
Protect his own daughter then.
But I can protect you.
but he can protect Gregory now. The story of Five Nights at Freddy's is about desperation. William and Michael were so desperate to get their families back that they were willing to destroy other families in the process. And Henry
Was Michael
to
really?
In
I don't think
recent
Michael's a
interview,
villain.
Jay Top from
No.
Steelwolf Studios talked about what makes a good villain.
It's always about a person that has done something that has caused a situation and then getting their comeuppance is kind of like the heart of it. Like, why is Freddy Krueger popular? Well, it's a revenge story, isn't it? These aren't just like these supernatural forces that came out of nowhere to just hurt people and punish people, right? Like, there were results of other wrongdoing.
A good villain needs to have a good reason why they're bad. William and Michael definitely are the villains of this franchise, but their motivations
Michael is
lie
not a
deeper than
villain.
just
He's
killing
literally
for
the
fun. They were
protagonist.
working together to try and rebuild their family. Their desperation blinded them as they started making everyone else pay for the mistakes they made. And if we learned anything today, it's that if William always comes back, Henry won't be far behind him.
I can see why people don't like this theory very much, because it's very clear that Michael is not a villain. Hey, it's my video. Why is my own video in my recommended? It's my video here. I don't really know what else to say, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I disagree very heavily. I think I've explained decently well why in this video. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And if you did enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you want to. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye, guys.